Welcome to another edition of Wardy Screencast. We're going to be working now toward our proposal essays. So, done the causal essay, second essay for the portfolio, and really the last thing before the reflective statement. So, the last real big thing to work toward is the proposal argument essay. Instead of the movie with Sandra Bullock and Ryan Reynolds, think of like a business proposal. This is actually the kind of argument that most of you will use in your careers later after you graduate from Rowan. If you want to get clients for a business, you're going to have a proposal. They sometimes call it request for a proposal, actually. Going into the sciences or some other kind of field where you might study stuff, you're going to need grant money, so applying for grants. If you're going into, some of you might go into fundraising. Basically, you're arguing for people. You're going to propose that they give money to your organization. So this is something that you will definitely find more relevant to most of your careers. With that said, I always like to give you learning attention, success criteria, so you know for this video, you're going to learn about proposal arguments and essays so you know why people write them and what to consider when thinking about writing your own. You'll know you've got it by the end of the video. You should be able to define and explain the purpose of a proposal essay, understand how to work toward and support a proposal essay, argument, thesis statement, and explain what you need to think of before you start choosing your proposal essay, basically the topic for your overall topic, if that makes sense. So let's get into it. So proposal essays, here's the key. They argue that something should, ought to, or must happen, or that something should not, ought not to, or must not happen. All right, this is the template. I took it from the online textbook, this graphic. When we go to our thesis statement, you're going to use this template. So basically, someone or something or some corporation, maybe it's politicians, should pass this bill, must pass the bill, must not pass a bill. I might actually have you look back at your causal essays. So, one of the most common arguments. The proposal essay, the proposal argument is one of the most common, like I said earlier. It's real life. It is rhetorical. It seems simple, but there's some complexities to it, which we'll get into probably when we go to write it a little bit here. But anyway, seems easy. Here's what should happen, must not happen. Here's the evidence that supports it. All right, so think of it this way. I want to go on vacation. And that looks really nice right now. We got some social distancing going on. Can I find that island? Anyway. All right. So pretend that Mrs. Ward comes to me and says, we should go on vacation to Paradise Island. Just making up a name here. That really is your proposal claim. We should do this. All right. Sometimes a little more complex. And, for example, if somebody came to you and said, hey, let's go on vacation here, you're probably not just going to say, sure, sounds good. You're going to be thinking, can I afford this? How much does it cost? Where is it? When are we going to go? You kind of build toward that proposal. So, pretend this is the conversation between Mrs. Ward and I. Mrs. Ward says, did you hear that the weather is awesome in Paradise Island in January? All right, we're establishing a condition, kind of defining Paradise Island, going on vacation in this case, which is another kind of argument. But in any event, I want to kind of realize some arguments build toward a proposal argument, which your causal essay will actually likely build toward a proposal, but that's beside the point. So right now, did you hear about the awesome weather there in January? And I come in. So you've said every week for the last 2 years. Apparently I can't take a hint. I don't know. Anyway, so Mrs. Ward says, I've read a few travel critics who say it's the most cost-effective vacation spot in the world. In fact, Joe Traveler from the Travel Channel ranks it as his second best family vacation spot on the planet. In this case, we're arguing that something's good, using some evidence, building up that proposal. That sounds cool. Cheap is good. See, I don't like to spend money. Yeah. Cost-effective. She has me there. All right, Mrs. Ward. Now with the proposal claim, our thesis statement. We should go to Paradise Island for a family vacation next January, but we've built up with some evidence. So you're going to think of, all right, what proposal can I make? What evidence is going to get me there? What should happen based on all the research you've done? So again, it's one of the most common arguments. It is a little complex. Here's what should happen. Here's the evidence that proves why. Or here's what should not happen, must not happen. Here's the evidence that proves why it should or must not happen. The next two parts of this. You have to establish and define the problem for your audience. So about, all right, here's what I'm going to propose. Well, why do I need to propose this? Here's what's going on in the world. Here are some examples. And I'm going to walk you through this in the next couple of videos and the organizer you're going to do later this week before we actually write the essay. Keep it in mind too, you may not solve every single problem. Maybe it's only one part of it. That's okay. We have to get somewhere. So you don't have to think about, it's this huge problem, I have to complete all of it. Not necessarily. All right, going back to the flow chart that we've kind of worked with. So we did the issue background report, find out, all right, what is the topic? What's going on in the world? What are the main issues? What are the main conversations going on? Did the causal. All right, here's a problem, kind of here's what's causing the problem, or here's something that's happening and what could cause the problem, or here are the things causing it. Now, how do I solve it? The proposal essay, argument essay you write does not have to align with the causal argument. Does not. But it might make sense to do that. Because you're kind of going to see, all right, here's an issue. How do I solve it? And it kind of does go with the rhetorical triangle in this regard. I want you to keep this in mind as we kind of think about our proposal argument, what it's actually going to be. So remember, we have the speaker, an audience. They want to kind of get a subject to that audience. What's the purpose in writing it? And that'll dictate what genre you use. In this case, our intention is we're going to try to solve at least part of a problem. Now I have to get my audience to figure out, all right, so the problem, I want to try and solve it. A proposal essay, that's the genre we're going to use, is the best for that. The audience. You want to think about this too. Who is most likely impacted, able to bring about change, or involved in the issue? If there's some group out there that you could give them $200 million and they're still going to say no, we call that a fatalistic audience. Your message is dead on impact. Do not worry about them. Keep them in mind a little bit. Think about what objections they might raise, but you're not necessarily going to try to change their mind. Whose minds can you change? That's who you're really going to keep in mind. The ones on your side and the ones that are kind of in the middle, or even if they're leaning a little bit on the other side, but the person that's no way in heck, don't keep their objections in mind because you're going to need to answer them, but you're not trying to win that person over. All right. Defining the problem. How do we get the audience involved? You're going to keep that in mind. And this is where pathos and logos come into play. You want to pull on those heartstrings, and this is where we create the argument. Pulling those heartstrings. Remember, heart, head, and cred, yo. Heart, pathos, head, logos, and cred, ethos, my credibility. What stories are going to kind of get their emotions going a little bit? What logic is going to make the audience kind of side with me a little bit? We're going to go over this a little bit more as we go to write and plan out the essay. I'm just kind of previewing it right here. All right. Show your solution solves, or at least partially solves, the problem. That is basically what we're trying to accomplish with a proposal argument essay. So that's kind of why we write it, what we have to think about as we plan it. Again, this is all stuff we're going to think about. You're not actually doing it yet, just previewing it for you this video. And then some reasons to adopt your proposal. So, to wrap this one up, remember, we set out to learn about why people write proposal arguments and what to consider preparing our own. Right now, you should be able to define and explain the purpose of it, understand how to kind of think about your proposal thesis statement. You do not have one yet. We're just thinking. All right, this is how people come up with them. The next video, actually the next two, will work on actually doing this. And other than that, in the next video, we're going to look at, all right, what's a proposal essay look like, kind of the parts of it, the steps to kind of creating one, and then choosing a focus for your proposal argumentative essay. Till then, Wardy is out.